All right. Well, we're here at the Vanguard booth, NAMM 2023.
With Claremont Craft Ale,
Yeah,
by the way.
I'll give you one of these.
Simon. Thank you, Simon. Oh, boom.
Oh.
Cheers.
Well, Rian Lewis is a client of mine, as we all know. He's also a dear friend. And Derek, you are the owner, chief everything officer,
Co-founder.
co-founder,
Yeah,
the guy.
I guess. That's what they say.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. We just want to have a conversation about your product and the case used for it. Ryan has been digging the microphones.
Yeah.
Love to hear some background on the company and go through some of the line. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Still recording, by the way, so we're good.
Yeah.
I'm not checking my text during an interview. That comes later.
Of course not.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
I'll check it like 1,000 times. So when did the company start?
So we started in 2013 and we released our first product in 2016. So it's been 10 years this September, which feels
Oh, congrats.
long.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
like that happened fast and slow all at the same time. Time is.
Oh, you mean running a company is impossibly hard?
Yeah,
I think I
absolutely.
understand.
I can't imagine what that's like, right?
It is impossibly hard.
Yeah.
No, I've seen like those memes of like you start a company in your face. It's like Obama. through his presidency.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's so bright and fresh, a young summer child. By the end, he's so aged.
And then at the end, it's like a
Yeah.
picture of like Ian McKellen.
I've aged 10 years and 6 years Stateside has been around.
All these grades,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
one of those is a problem with one of these. So, yeah.
Well, Ryan, you happen to be a music producer, an audio engineer. What is
All of these things are true.
What is something about a microphone that like you want the case of ease? You know, you can grab it, use it. What are you looking for in good microphones?
You just kind of nailed it. Like broad usability
Yeah.
is probably the number one. Like
Durability.
durability is also huge. Hopefully, like we were just talking about before.
You just rolled vintage out.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kinda.
Vintage, especially anything vintage that's operating off of unobtainium.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. Like I'm not even.
Well, no, I
I'm
understand.
uncomfortable to be in the same
No,
room
if
with
you have a
mics like
studio where
that. sometimes.
this Neumann is just sitting there and you never move it and you don't breathe on it.
Yeah.
But no, we're making records. We're
Yeah,
working
exactly.
with blue collar men. Like we got things to do.
Yeah, you pray over that VF14
That's
too.
right.
You do like 15 Hail Marys before you start the session.
Yeah, that's right.
And you hope the one that you just bought from Germany is any good. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, it was only like $3,000.
Yeah,
You
totally.
can buy like 3 of those.
So yeah, it has to be like, I personally, I don't want to use something in somebody else's studio, and I would never buy myself something that is that delicate and that it does run off of unobtainium.
Breathe on it.
Yeah. And so I need something that's going to be broadly usable, something that has a sound that doesn't only make it good for one or two things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's one of the many reasons why I was completely blown away by the V13 when I got to get my hands onto it.
We were talking about this yesterday. I'm curious how much this matters to an actual producer. I'm removed. There's a reason I manage people like you, and I'm not an audio engineer myself. However,
Sounds like the reason I designed microphones.
Well, okay, so me and you might agree on this. For me, if I do a lap in this pro audio room, I'll find a lot of very similar looking microphones.
Right.
And it's something about Vanguard from that wall down here. You see the logo. You see these rad looking. This is like
They are really, really beautiful.
well designed. They're beautiful. How much does that matter to you? It matters to me as someone that when I buy a product, I want to feel good and look good. Like I
matters
just got
a
new
great deal.
motorcycle. That mattered to me.
Like, okay, I try to see these things through the eyes of my clients. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't,
Right.
like, I would use an ugly thing that sounds beautiful. I would,
Sure.
like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I also understand that the artist who's in front of the microphone that I put in front of them is probably going to want to feel special inspired
Yes.
and like they have great tools at their disposal
Yep.
and like they're in a nice place that can
Yep.
accommodate, whatever they might need. And so putting something that does just look beautiful and is like so solid and like, all the things attach into one another in very solidly and everything.
It adds inspiration.
It does. Like, it's
100%.
it's a thing that the artist and I both just don't even have to worry about from that point.
Yes, I think that. I mean, there's some microphones that cross some of that off here, but they come across a little gimmicky.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm saying. Like it's a gorgeous looking line of microphones without being, that's obviously not the focus. The focus is a great microphone and a good product, but it looks rad.
I mean, the sound's the first part, right? But like,
Right.
it's like the Dieter Rams school of product design, which is you can make something beautiful and functional at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive.
That's right.
When it comes to a point where I have to choose faction or function, like I have a couple stories about that. Like I've done 3 different iterations of this microphone here to try and get all 3 logos to line up on this neck design, but it made it more fragile. And after 3 different variations of the neck of this lolly, I said, okay, they're no longer going to line up all 3 logos because people keep breaking them, and I'm tired of fixing them.
Yeah.
So, there's points where they become mutually exclusive. But like you were saying, I feel like we spend so much time making our studios conducive to creativity.
Right.
And then you're using a mic that looks like vanilla cake with mayonnaise frosting on it, to use the same expression I used 10 minutes ago. And I don't know, I just feel like products can and should be beautiful, like classic cars or stuff like that. And it does hopefully inspire confidence from the artist. The engineer, like you said, they can use ugly beat up stuff and they don't worry about it. They're engineers, that's what they do.
Right.
But
Confidence, that's well put. And it gives the artist confidence that they're not singing into shitty shit.
So you just said something
exactly.
that matters to me. I think it's a mistake that engineers, like when a lot of engineers post online, they post about the how. Like, here's how to track a kick drum, and here's how to EQ the. You're talking to like 10 other dorks.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a client industry. You have clients.
Right.
You have people that are inspired creative artists. And I think that should matter with the hardware that you use.
I agree, and I feel like we were just talking about you wear so many hats now. Like producer is like this catch-all word because you're probably like a vocal coach at some points.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Especially
That's right.
in the studio. There's something about singers. I knew this one guy that I worked with, and you probably had the same experience. Amazing live, never missed a note. You get into the studio, it sounds like one of those awkward American Idol editions from like
You're like,
2005, where you're like,
yikes.
man, there's something about having that microscope on them that the studio and the stage suddenly become 2 different things.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they're inexperienced in the studio, and I know you work with a lot of experienced people.
And inexperienced, I mean, I like to keep it both.
Okay, yeah. Having something that inspires confidence, anything you can do to inspire confidence and creativity and give the artist the vibe,
Yeah.
I think the mic can and should be a part of that.
So something I was thinking is you have a line of microphones.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own case use specific use for the microphone. But we were just watching a video with Wolfbeck, or how do you pronounce it?
Wolfbeck, yeah.
And there's probably 5 to 6 people in the room. There's a couple acoustics,
Yeah.
a singer, a bass player that's going through DI. That's the only thing that wasn't captured in the room on one microphone.
Yeah.
That's something I like about a good microphone too, is that like you don't have to overthink this stuff. Set up a microphone, have a couple artists get in a room. That was really rad to watch, and you cranked it up. I was like, Jesus Christ, how is it picking up all of that? And like sonically really well.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
That was a V44S. That's this guy here, the stereo microphone. They probably had it in plumb line, so it was capturing, they were kind of standing in like that clover shape, so it was capturing a little bit of everybody.
That's what was impressive about it.
Yeah. And that's how they used to do and still do like bluegrass records. Like
Right.
one mic, and then the soloist steps closer to the mic.
Close to come
And
out.
so like there's mechanical things. A lot of people reach for EQ and stuff, and I'm sure like you are like, okay, before we EQ and compress and try a new mic, let's try adjusting where the mic is, because that's what EQ, that's real EQ. That's real world, real time EQ.
Yes.
But, I'm not trying to speak for you because you do this way more than I do.
No, you're absolutely right. And but that also gets to like when positioning multiple musicians around one microphone, there's no way that your mic could have a bad off-axis response and excel in that environment.
Yeah.
Like off-axis response is so fucking important. It's the difference between the room tone on a vocal being pleasing or not pleasing.
Yeah.
It's the difference between bleed being you're glad it's there or you're fucking bummed it's there. You know what I mean? Like
because it actually bled through.
Yeah, and like, but if the sound that it enters the rear of the capsule or from the side or whatever can still be pleasant,
Yeah.
then you can use the mic so many more different places, and it's like it'll be great in those places. Like it's really, really, it helps when people like you think about those things in advance. It helps in the session so much. You have no idea.
You want to get nerdy for a sec?
Please.
There's something called angle of coincidence. So there's a physical property of these flat diaphragms.
This is where I fell out.
So here's a really simple way to explain it. People talk about, oh, your U87, very popular vocal microphone. When it's too SE or like too bright for an artist, you turn it like 25 to 45 degrees and it rolls off that top end. That's a physical property of flat diaphragms. And so off-axis response, you basically get like a high-end roll-off the further angled off you get from the capsule. So even when this is in like true Omni, from the side, you're not picking up stuff at like 15K the way you would be from the front.
Interesting.
And that's part, but bass is more of like an omnidirectional sound, so it doesn't apply as much to longer wavelengths. So yeah, there's your nerd tech talk. I'll shut up and drink my beer.
No, we need a little nerd. We are at NAMM.
This
Let's
is
keep
true.
that in mind.
And this is a room full of people who are nerdy enough to
You
make
just
beer.
scratched that itch, brother. I have a question.
Yeah.
These are yours as well.
The shock mounts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Most shock mounts are obnoxious and they're a
generic
rat's
and
nest.
terrible.
Yes.
These are the best shock
Our
mounts.
shared friend Stephen Hawks was here yesterday. He saw this and he was like, "Oh, I could actually use that."
And
Yeah.
we do
And I
sell them
hate-
separately. Plug $110 on Vintage King or whatever.
Nice.
Plug for Vintage King too. You're welcome, Chris.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
They were here yesterday.
yeah they were.
Yeah.
They were.
I
They
didn't
just
know
look
they
for
were-
the towering sales manager.
They're
Chris
based
Polito.
in like Detroit or something.
Yeah, they're based in Detroit. They have a shop in LA, a shop
have
in
no idea.
Nashville. Yeah, we got. Sorry, other dealers. We have a whole bunch of other dealers. Front End Audio's Infro Audio.
I don't think they're surprised.
Yeah. But the shock mounts. Like we were just talking about this. Spider shock mounts are 70 years old, at least, and they're a dumb design.
And not even a great idea back then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's elastic. The stuff that holds up your underwear, we know how long that lasts.
Yeah.
Why is that holding up like an investment, like a multi-$1,000 investment? And there's two of those little hair scrunchies, and if one of them breaks, the whole mic goes to the floor, which is why Sunset Sound, all their beautiful vintage mics look like this.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure some of those are bump mic stands, like we were talking about,
Right.
but some of those are a shock mount band failing. I've seen like staples. I've seen people like wrap pencils inside of them to get them tight because they wear out over time. We're using jet engine O-rings, so those have a
These look
UV
good?
additive, so they don't crack over time. If you stretch them way out, like let me see if I can pull one off of here real quick. I'm gonna try. I don't know. I got these big old sausage fingers. Not great for soldering either. Here we go. I got it. Yeah. So these are really hard to break. Like you can give it a go. You can really give it a go.
I
Yeah.
have no
Well, there's
strength
six.
anyway,
There's
so.
6 of those on there. And those have a UV added. Those are probably a couple years old, so we buy them in batches of like 20,000.
Yeah.
They don't crack. If you stretch them out, they return to their original size.
See, this is the kind of crap
materials
that
are amazing.
running a company and designing for products you don't really think of when you first started.
If I
You're
try
like,
and put this
"Oh,
back on, I'm
O-rings
probably going
matter."
to biff it.
Yeah.
And
So
we need
I'm
a
just gonna stick it
supplier
here
for
now.
20,000 O-rings and O-rings that won't break.
Yeah. So that guy who supplies those to me supplies them to Boeing.
Right.
For like a jet engine that keeps you in the
Yeah.
sky. If it's going to keep a jet in the sky, I'm like, it'll probably keep the microphone up on the snap.
Yeah.
Dude,
And I
that's
put
great.
6 of them just in case.
Right.
So, but yeah, and then like the open face, Kim came up with that in like 2009, 2010, and we were going to do it when he worked at Avanto. That was his company. That's the guy that designs the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Ken Avant. He's
Yeah.
not here at the show. But he came up with that open face design because when you try and mic guitar amp, for instance, you have to be off axis with a spider shot mount, or like if a singer close works a mic. I don't know if you've ever had the experience where they bump the little leg of the shot mount.
terrible.
Thump ruins the whole take, right?
Right.
So now you can mic things close as they should be. You can get right up on, let's say that's an amp or whatever. You can get right up on it, no problem. And we know it's a good design because like 5 or 6 other companies have copied us
copied
over
it.
the years since then. I'm like, I think I did something right when I reinvented the
No
shot
way.
mount.
Wow.
Yeah, this fits a bunch of other brands. That's M22x1 threading. That's like pretty standard.
That's kinda cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like
You're not making, like,
Telefunkers and
proprietary,
Mojaves
right.
and MXLs, if they've got a thread on the bottom to the mic stand, it's probably that.
Yeah.
It's like a sort of a universal standard.
Interesting.
As much as you can have one in audio.
So I'm curious how you guys come up with price points for your microphones, because they're not prohibitively expensive. And I wouldn't really argue they're super beginner prices. I think you mentioned maybe going with like a super top of the line product.
Well, that one over here is going to be like $8,000 to $9,000 because we're using like Australian-made capsules, U.S.-made metalwork. We're going to solder everything by hand in the U.S. So I don't want to get
and it's replacing
a C24.
Yeah,
but it's like
$40,000
microphone.
Yeah,
and like it's 25 to 40.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's expensive for the average person, but you are replacing something that's even more.
Yeah, that's my
the
first
very few
foray into
people
like
who like need, you know, who are replacing an actual C24.
Yeah.
That's gonna you're gonna be like fucking lifesaver.
Yeah, and like honestly, C24s are so fragile. Like Sunset Sound, their studio manager was just here. They're like, we've got one.
Yeah.
We have 3 studios, and they're all asking to like use this. It's the most requested mic that we can't split it up into 3 parts. This isn't like a story of King Solomon in the Bible or whatever, you know. So he's like, we need more stereo mics. And he was looking at this, and he was looking at that. And he said the other thing is, sometimes they have 0 C24s because it's always broken.
Yeah.
So we fixed a lot of the things. You know, it was designed 60 years ago. If I can't do a better job with the technology I have today, I shouldn't be making microphones in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
You gotta innovate.
Do you agree, Christopher? All right, thank you so much.
I mean, you already sold me.
Yeah, there you go.
But I maybe.
Yeah. Well,
You're in the interview.
you're in the interview now. Yeah, absolutely. Christopher, these are the
Wait
guys
for
from
the camera.
Stateside, man. This is Rian Lewis. He's
Hey,
Doja
Ryan.
Cat's engineer.
Nice to
So
meet you,
yeah,
Nice to meet you, man.
yeah.
How's it going?
Welcome to the podcast, very briefly.
Yeah.
But as far as the price points, I was a music student. I hated not being able to afford good microphones. There's a much bigger gap back then. It was like $5,000, mortgage a kidney, get a U87, or beat like an MXL
Barrier to
jack
entry. Yeah.
in the mix with a plug-in chain this long.
Right.
You know, compressed DS again, EQ, DS probably.
Amazing.
So I wanted to make stuff affordable. So these are priced more competitively, and we had to raise the prices. You know, like supply chain's part of the public lexicon now, but like brass has gone up 300% since the start of. Yeah, so like my capsules are twice as much just from the materials.
Right.
You know, not even including the labor and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, we try and keep them as affordable as possible. Because I was a music student, I was like, I couldn't have good tools to make my music and learn how to make my music. And so I want that to be an accessible thing for people who, you know, not necessarily in college, but just anybody who's looking to make music. My job is, this is how I contribute to music and to what you do and to making something that's like culturally universal. This is my way to do it. I was a terrible musician. I was an okay audio engineer and producer, pretty decent vocal producer, but like, you know,
This is where you found your...
Yeah. And I figure, you know, like as a musician, I got the same amount of credit as an audio engineer on the liner notes, I noticed. You know, I figure like I'm basically getting credit on Doja Cat now because they're using my microphone. It's like a passive credit system.
Oh no, that's my whole game, baby.
We'll see you at the Grammys.
Yeah, my Discogs is just going to be like this.
I just sit next to him at the Grammys. I'm like, yeah. I try to just blend in at the Grammys. Well, as we wind this little podcast down,
let's ask him more questions.
Well, I have a question for you.
Oh, and I did have another question for you, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask that first?
I'm curious about, I love the aesthetic that you chose for the mics because it feels timeless, but also it's immediately recognizable, and it's not like copying anything. Like I was curious where you got the idea for the wingy thing and the maroon, the kind of deep burgundy color and everything.
The wingy thing is designed by my wife.
Oh, awesome!
The Vanguard logo. My wife Stacy, who is in Pennsylvania right now. Hi, Stace.
That's so cool.
Yes, I am drinking at the show. Sorry about that. I said I wouldn't. We wanted something recognizable. We do original mics. We're not trying to copy. We're not trying to make the 28th U47 Fed that's here at NAMM.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's enough people doing that and doing it well. And I'm like, I want to do something original. Like, if you're an artist, you don't want to be like the slightly worse version of like your favorite artist. You want to do something, unless you're making like sound-alikes for Domino's commercials or whatever.
Then go
for it. But if you're making original music, be original with your tools too. So, but yeah, we try to make it instantly recognizable. Also, like same thing, we want things to look beautiful. And from a marketing perspective, you're scrolling down, you know, a website, Vintage King or Zenpro. I should probably use somebody different. You're scrolling down Pitbull Audio's website. You see 1,800 mics that are black or dull nickel, and then that you instantly know that's a Vanguard.
That's all of these mics down here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not to like talk shit, but
you know, and like unobtrusive is useful. We're doing this in black because a bunch of national orchestras in Europe want to use this. They're like, we can't use your shiny one because we broadcast all these on television.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's
so we're doing these in black for the first round, and that's
I also want to comment on the backdrop here, Brian. Derek said he made this in his garage.
You're shitting me.
In
Isn't that
2017.
incredible?
Yeah.
Folds
You're a
up.
handy dude.
I know.
You know?
That's beautiful.
Nicely done.
So the question I was going to ask as we kind of wind this up, this is a question I ask everyone when I do a podcast, and I want you to explore your brain.
Yeah.
Are you hopeful for the music industry? Like the State of the Union question. Do you feel? I mean, I guess as you would be, or else you wouldn't be doing this. But like, explore that for a second. Do you feel like we're heading in the right direction? Do you think that we've come over the hump of Napster era where no one's buying anything? And
It's a better question for Ryan.
yeah, I would love to hear your take on this.
I have a tremendous amount of hope for the music industry. There's been a lot of no, honestly, the conversations I've been having just in the last couple weeks about the American appetite for foreign language music.
Oh yeah.
It's opening doors that are like
Wow.
it's incredible.
Burna Boy, yeah.
We are more
I know.
we're more as a society we have a more voracious appetite for Spanish, Korean, Japanese, whatever the language is. We don't need to understand it. We don't need to speak it to feel how good that music is. I think that's an incredibly cool thing. I'm so jealous of people coming up in this music industry that doesn't give a flying fuck about genre. I was you and I talked
my
about
14-year-old niece. It's mind-boggling to her that like we grew up rock guys.
yeah.
Our group of friends were like
When
rock
I was listening to
people.
the Dead
Like, why does
Kennedys,
anybody
I didn't
need-
think I could also listen to other stuff.
You weren't allowed
I
to.
thought it was
It
only
like an elite club thing.
Yeah.
But they get exposed to so much.
No, that's right. That's
literally
right.
everything.
Yeah.
Like
And not just that, even artists themselves are just abandoning genres.
Yeah.
Look at a band like Turnstile, who's a hardcore band from Baltimore, but they're like hip hop influenced, and kids that like go to raves, go to their shows.
Yeah.
It's fucking rad, man.
Yeah. And horror is headlining Afropunk.
That's an even better example. Horror
Like-
is great.
Everything's coming together.
Yeah.
Nobody sees those boundaries anymore.
You ask some people what that band is, someone will tell you it's a punk rock band.
Somebody would
It's
say that
hardcore.
they make trap.
Somebody would say trap.
Yeah, like
That's wildly exciting.
There's just
Right.
more gray areas now.
Yes.
Like a producer, we were just talking about how it's a catch-all term
Amen.
now, and like there's gray areas in music, there's gray areas in like it's more of we're breaking down boundaries, which I think is a.
And by the way, I think this
Yeah.
applies, since we're at NAMM, I think this applies to products, brands that are supporting the music industry. We're all here because of the artist. However, everyone has their own role. There's an in-ear company, there's a microphone company. They're making monitors.
Yep.
And I think, in the 90s or even prior to that, it was tough to start a company. It was really tough to sell products in the music industry.
It still is.
Well, it still is. I'm not
has
saying
not been
it's
saturated.
Yes.
Maybe.
But it's easier. It's democratized.
It's
Advertising is democratized.
Yeah, you're welcome to do it. No one's saying you can't do it, and I love that.
This is democratized too, and thank you for setting price points like you're setting.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's like that really, I'm envisioning that position that a lot of people find themselves in, where they realize how deep the rabbit hole gets.
Yep.
And they're like, oh fuck, if I want to get to that next level, I probably need acoustic treatment.
Ugh.
I probably need better speakers.
I could only
probably need a
imagine.
better vocal mic. I
Yeah.
probably need different plugins.
I guess I need
and
a
at that
loan.
moment, like they need to be able to afford the shit
Yeah,
that
when they
is going
step
to make
up from
good
their
stuff for them.
Fisher Price microphone or whatever, then they
Yeah.
need they need something that's gonna do the work for them easier. Like I said, I
That's
make
right.
tools. I make paintbrushes for artists.
Yes,
My
you do.
job to make a tool is to make a tool that makes your job easier.
Yeah.
And
That's
your
it.
job easier, Christopher.
Right.
So, hey, look, he's back. So
You never left, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Loyal.
So as far as making tools, like it's about making things easier for the artist. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I can't explain it any different. If I'm not doing that, then I have to change what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I hope they make their job easier, and I hope
It really
I hope
does.
they make everybody's job easier. I'd like to sell as many of these as possible, personally, from a selfish perspective. But
Well,
there's
hopefully
so
we can
many
help
great
with that.
microphones here, and they're
Yeah.
all just making different paintbrushes. That's
Yes,
all it
that's
is.
all
We're
it is.
making
Yeah.
we're different colors on the palette on the Sonic palette. That's
Just
what
got to
we're
go find your
It's
community.
true. This one's especially good though.
doing. I like hearing that.
No, for real.
I like
This
hearing that.
one's especially good.
Yeah. What about you, Christopher? Is there hope for the music industry? Absolutely. I like hearing that. Okay. That's good to
good.
hear. Yeah. If
More opportunity, right? Yeah. Yeah.
if none of us made another penny, if the money stopped tomorrow, I think most of us would still be making music. Because
Yeah.
it's like there's something it's this social and spiritual
it's my life.
thing.
It's been my life since I was a kid.
You know, there's plenty of people doing it for free. You know?
Oh, totally.
So I think there's hope for music in that sense. Now the music industry, you know, we're talking about, you know, late stage capitalism here. It messes a lot of things up.
Sure.
So, you know, we're gonna find ways to keep making money in it.
Yeah.
I think because we have to eat.
Yes.
And because the people still want it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And I think
Thank God.
I think new generations also appreciate the value of art more. I think there's more appreciation for the value of digital things that maybe my generation didn't have.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I like that.
you're probably right.
Yeah.
And I also think people are finding a case use for analog stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going strong. They're still releasing like analog outboard boxes, even with AI plugins and stuff, which are amazing and helpful. Like, the human element still matters for art, which is a human expression.
Thank God.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, AI makes it interesting. We could call it another really interesting, strange new paintbrush. But, I think that it's a human art ultimately. It's human expression.
I love that Neural DSP is in there with all the amp, with all the like tube amp companies in there. Just like, oh, we're amps too.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking cool because it is.
The Tech Awards in 2019 or something, we were up for a Tech Award, like an innovation award for this microphone. And I lost it to a Townsend software update, and I was very confused.
Oh. Weird. Okay, I feel about that.
I know how I felt about it, but Townsend makes a really cool product, and they make something, once again, a different paintbrush.
Yeah.
What is it like when Jethro Tull won Best Metal Record?
Yeah.
Like over Metallica?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Are we sure? Is this like that?
Are you sure about that?
There's a flute in it.
Are you sure about
Are
that?
you sure that's how it is? Yeah.
Well, this has been fun. I'll give you
Absolutely.
a closing fist bump. I love you both.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.